Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. Today we're discussing the Vacheron Constantin Overseas Automatic. This is the second generation watch in the variant known as the Deep Stream, featuring titanium bezel and stainless steel case. You can see and you can purchase this Vacheron Constantin on our website. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos, and please click on the card in the upper right hand corner of the screen at any time during this video to see our full sales listing for this watch, with additional accessories included in the sale, high resolution images for your desktop, and naturally complete pricing details for this 42mm bimetallic Vacheron Constantin sports watch. The watch on my wrist is one of the great buys in pre-owned Sportsters from high-end brands. Far more accessible than a Patek Philippe Nautilus or Aquanaut, far more wearable than a Royal Oak Offshore. This is a handsome piece that embodies the best of everything Vacheron represents, right down to the use of a JLC caliber, as historically, JLC has at various points been both a supplier and, at one point, corporate parent to the Vacheron brand. So this is a match made in heaven, and that goes triple if you count my wrist, because I love the way this watch feels. Let's talk about the size, the fit, and the feel. 42mm across the round of the case. Vacheron correctly judged that there was no need for crown guards on this watch. If you managed to break the stem and the stem tube by impact, you're going to be missing most of your wrist at that point. So I would prefer the easy access and the total absence of wrist digging crown guards. This watch feels great. Lug to lug, it's just as comfortable, and the fit is just as secure. As you can see, across the wrist, 50.9mm, but the camber of the case needs to be taken into account, and we will in a moment. It's a slim profile. The watch is only 9.6mm thick, and there is a little bit of a slope to the flanks of the bezel, so it will slide underneath any dress cuff, including tight sleeves. I'm going to open up the clasp, and we're going to take a look at that case profile I promised you. And as you can see, it does turn down around the wrist, and rather dramatically. The watch is effectively a cushion case. This generation in particular of Overseas was inspired by Jörg Heisig's 1977 Vacheron 222 sports watch, and you can see that in the profile of the case and the lugs. Now, because it essentially curves around your wrist, it wears even smaller than its roughly 51mm lug-to-lug span. And because there's absolutely no flare to the strap, you can see how it juts straight down. It doesn't fight the curve of your wrist. If you're one of those collectors who's experienced the likes of sports watches with stiff conforming end profile straps, this is nothing like that. The strap is both flexible and juts straight down as it exits the lugs. You'll also note that the strap is retained with screws, not with spring bars, so it is quite secure in its junction. It's also visually and aesthetically integrated with the flank of the case, just like a full bracelet variant would be, so you get that handsome integrated all-of-a-piece aesthetic without the stiffness that often comes as a consequence. You'll note that there is a channel down the center to add a little bit of definition to the flank of the strap. It is thick in profile where it abuts the lugs, however, so it fills out and matches the swell of the lug, but underneath, as you can see, it's fully relieved, removing material to make it more supple and pliant, and also creating channels that allow the wrist to aerate to evacuate moisture, heat, oil, sweat, and grit on a hot day. The clasp is incredibly substantial and beautifully finished, all of high polish, every single piece on both sides. This is high horology executed in detail in places where many companies will use default parts, common parts that are identical with others because of the same supplier. Vacheron, as you can see, creates a bespoke part and finishes it beautifully. It even uses the swing arm of one side of the clasp to create a trigger system, so you must positively disengage to pop the clasp open. Not friction fit, it can't simply pop open, so you have that extra measure of security. You'll also see, for additional security, the increment of the sizing is secured with a screw rather than a simple pin. So keep in mind, this is not a strap that you have to cut. You can size it, set it, and then forget it without losing material. Of course, the case itself is just as handsome, and a good deal of work went into the contrasting finishes. Let me see if I can't polish this case flank a little bit for you so you can see the quality of what has been wrought. You can see the metal, all glossy and gleaming, features a handsome transitional bevel about the satin finished top of the case. The lug hoods as well as the top case have been satin finished or directionally grained. They look brushed, to to use the parlance of our times. You'll also note that the bezel itself has a tonal contrast, and it's most evident from this angle. The contrast is due to the fact that the bezel itself is a satin-finished titanium, and the case is steel. So this model was sometimes known as the Deep Stream during its development. It came out in 2009. Well, Deep Stream was marketing talk and development talk that never made it to market. So that nickname managed to endure in online fora. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't have any particular designation. It's not a special edition. It's just terminology used to relate this combination of rubber strap, steel case, sunburst anthracite dial, and the titanium bezel. So the Deep Stream, what can I say about it? It's gorgeous. There will be a lume shot at the end of this video, so stay tuned. You can see that the dial is no nonsense. You have quarter Arabics, large indices, tons of superluminova, and blackened hands for hours, minutes, and seconds at center. There is a date window at 4:30, and it features a concave dish-shaped ray outboard for counting off the minutes and the seconds. The crown is low in profile and slightly countersunk into the profile of the case to reduce its protuberance, and you will note that it protrudes very little. When you screw it out, you gain command of the Vacheron Constantin caliber 1226, which is based on Jaeger-LeCoult's 890 series, which is to say, automatic winding with a 38-hour power reserve. It has all of the upgrades of the 890s over the 889s, so it has a free-sprung balance that is very tough, a more efficient unidirectional winding system, and it has reprofiled train gears to improve efficiency. It also has ceramic bearings, which reduce maintenance requirements and also wind more efficiency. So if you hear a little bit of a rattle when you're wearing it, that's the ceramic bearings. That's exactly as it's supposed to be. Now it also features hacking or stop seconds. As you can see, you can synchronize the watch precisely to a reference time, and there is a quick set for rapidly cycling the date. It is a 36 joule high horology movement that first helps this watch to attain a 9.6mm thickness, but because it is so thin, it also allows Vacheron to use an inner magnetic shielding system, so paramagnetics, to encase the movement and shield it from up to 25,000 amperes per meter. The ISO anti-magnetic watch standard is for 4,800 amperes per meter, so that gives you a sense of relative anti-magnetism. Also, because of the screw-down crown and robust seals, the watch boasts 150-meter water resistance, so far more than any non-offshore Royal Oak, and heck, for that matter, more than any offshore Royal Oak except for the diver. It has the beautiful image of the full-rigged ship that is the namesake of the range on the caseback. Thin, fine, rugged, and hailing from one of the great houses of high horology, this is one of the most underrated sports watches you can buy today. With no wait list, I think this eclipses the Nautilus and the Royal Oak in every way, but then again, I've always been partial to Vacheron. Jaeger-LeCoultre on the inside and Vacheron on the outside. That is a tough combination to beat. See it and decide for yourself on our website. Vacheron Constantin Generation 2 Overseas Automatic, reference 47040. Light and bright at night. See it by day on our website.